And here's one of those examples. The gloves are off in President Trump's long-running dispute with James Comey. The former FBI director slams the president in his new book, prompting the president to hit back on Twitter. White House counselor Kellyanne Conway promised President Trump would have something to say about James Comey's provocative new book.
The president will have his say either through those of us who do speak on his behalf or on his own. He's a busy guy.
Just minutes later, the president let loose on Twitter, calling the former FBI director a leaker and liar and an untruthful slimeball.
Comey will be forever known as a disgraced partisan hack that broke his sacred trust with the President of the United States, the dedicated agents of the FBI, and the American people he vowed to faithfully serve.
Comey writes in A Higher Loyalty that President Trump is unethical, untethered to truth, and ego-driven. He describes Trump as shorter than expected with a slightly orange face, details that Conway dismissed as immature.
He does what a lot of people do these days, which is take unnecessary, immature pot shots at the president's appearance.
Comey was fired last May while he was leading the investigation into whether the Trump campaign colluded with the Russian government.
I thought it was very important to call out what the Russians were trying to do with our election.
Comey writes the president tried to pressure him about that investigation. His book is scheduled for release next week. And don't forget, you can watch Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan Sunday morning. They're going to be talking about that whole thing. It's happening at 10:30 right here on CBS 3.
At this point, this has become another one of those partisan issues. It has become whose side do you take? Where does that put you on the political spectrum instead of about what some are concerned about here, and that is undermining law enforcement and the institutions themselves. So right now, it's kind of getting digested as one of those Washington food fights.
Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan Sunday morning, 10:30, right here on CBS 3. Diplomats